Hey there, fellow code jockeys. It's Kyle here from WCAG Made Simple. Today we're going to cover the importance of HTML landmarks for screen readers. Just a quick note before we start, I'll be using Safari on Mac as well as VoiceOver, which is Mac's built-in screen reader. Let's dive in. Taking a look at our page here, we can see what appears to be a blog. It's a fictitious blog that I've named Carve or Starve, and within it there are very familiar web elements. We have a header with a logo, word mark, and navigation. We have blog content, we have related content, and at the bottom we have a footer that has footer navigation as well. Let's go over and take a peek at the code. In the code, we can see that there's nothing too crazy happening here. We have a div for our header, which also contains an unordered list for our navigation. We have a div for our main content. And we have a div for our footer, as well as an unordered list for the footer navigation. Now this all looks pretty standard, but you may be surprised to know that screen readers may have a harder time interpreting this code. Let's go over to our browser again. I'm going to turn on the VoiceOver screen reader tool using Command F5, and then to prevent it from talking too quickly right away, I'm going to quickly press Caps Lock and U to jump to where I want to go.
Windows Spots menu. You are currently in a VoiceOver menu. This is a list of VoiceOver menu options. Links menu.
Okay, this is where I want to be. What I've pulled up here with Caps Lock U is the VoiceOver rotor. And this essentially allows you to break apart your page into different identifiable sections and jump between them. Not all screen reader users are going to read your page top to bottom. In fact, they're going to utilize different sections like this to jump around. You can see here that we have links.
Link 2. Link 3.
And as I navigate with the arrow keys, it jumps around to the different links on the page.
Cows. Chickens. Lambs.
If I use the right arrow key to cycle through options,
Headings menu.
I'll end up at the headings, so I can navigate a page by headings. The numbers next to the heading dictate the heading level. So 1 is for pigs, that's heading level 1. 2, cuts of pig, heading level 2. 3, bacon, heading level 3, so on and so forth. Now if I keep cycling, one menu that you'll notice that's absent is landmarks.
Windows Spots menu. Links menu. Headings menu. Windows Spots links menu.
Nowhere to be seen. Let's exit VoiceOver for now, go back to our code, and see what we can do about that. I'll press Escape to close this menu.
Link. Logo featuring a crossed carve. VoiceOver off.
To close VoiceOver. Going back to our code, luckily there are a few very quick fixes that we can do to generate some landmarks that VoiceOver can detect. Let's start with the generic div for our header. And let's swap that out for the header tag and make sure that we get our appropriate closing tag. For our main content, let's use the main tag. And again, let's make sure we close that properly. For related content, rather than this div, let's use an aside. An aside is typically used for supplementary content, so related content is perfect for this. And scrolling down, let's swap out the generic div that represents our footer for a proper footer tag. Okay, let's save this code. Let's jump back to our blog, and let's open up VoiceOver again and see what we get in the rotor menus.
VoiceOver on links menu. You are currently headings menu.
Headings.
Landmarks menu.
And now we have one for landmarks. This is what we were missing before. If we go to the top where it says banner, the banner is actually our header.
Main
Encompasses all our main content, which is typically all of that content between our header and footer.
Complementary
is our aside, which contains our related content.
Content
information. Well, the highlighting is not showing
heading
correctly.
Level 1, pigs. Content information
is actually our footer. Okay, this is a great start. Right away, through some simple changes, we have 4 landmarks that a screen reader can now interpret, and users can now jump across your web page using them. Fantastic. Let's see what else we can do to beef this up a bit. And let's jump back to our code.
You are voiceover off.
Great. So I mentioned the navigation in both the header and the footer. And let's now swap that out for a more appropriate nav tag. So then rather than this top level div, we can swap this out for nav. Make sure we close it all the way down to the bottom here. And we'll do the same for our footer nav. Fantastic. Let's save this code, jump back to the browser, reload the page, and Command F5.
Landmarks menu. You are currently in a voiceover main.
You'll now see we've added 2 additional landmarks to our menu. We have
navigation,
our top level navigation within our header,
content navigation,
and our footer as well. Again, the page highlighting is not jumping down, but if we scroll down here,
heading level 2, navigation,
you'll see that it's highlighting the navigation and the footer. Now, one small detail here. You may notice that the navigations are not very easy to discern at a glance what's what. Luckily, there's a quick fix for that as well. Let's go back to the code.
You are voiceover off.
And let's scroll back up to our header nav. Using the ARIA label attribute, we can actually set this as the primary, or label this as the primary navigation. Primary. And let's scroll down to our footer. Put this on the nav tag here as well. But we'll swap out primary for secondary. And let's save our code and jump back over. Reload our page.
On item primary navigation. You are main.
And now you can see that the landmark navigation, the navigation landmarks labels have been updated. So now we have primary navigation,
secondary navigation, heading level 2, secondary navigation.
And we have secondary navigation. Fantastic. Let's see what else we can do to beef this up.
You are voiceover off.
Jumping back to our code, let's take a look at our blog content. We can see here that it has an H1 of pigs, an H2 cuts of pigs, another H2 outdoor raising styles. Now it seems like these sections here are distinct but related to the blog content. So one thing that we can actually do here is wrap these. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. We can wrap these in a section tag. Should have turned code wrap on. Great. And let's do that as well for the next H2, which is the outdoor raising styles. And I'll just move this down. Great. Okay, so these section tags are now highlighting these thematically distinct but related sections of our content. If you were writing a research paper or research article and throwing it on the web, you could also break your introduction, your hypothesis, your findings, your conclusions, etc., all within their own section tags. Now, the funny thing about section tags is that not all screen readers will pick up on them just as they are. So what we can do is actually use the ARIA labeled by attribute. And I've spelled that wrong. Fix that up here. And we can point this to the heading within the section. In order to do that, we need to give the heading an ID. So I can give this H2 here an ID, and I can say cuts of pig. I'll just keep it simple and give it an ID that matches the text within it. Fantastic. And I will do the same down here. And I will give this H2 its own ID. Swap this up to be camel case. Great, so it now has an ID of outdoor raising styles, which matches the text within the heading for simplicity. And my ARIA label by on my section tag is pointing to it. Let's save this. And let's jump back to our browser. Let's reload our page. And let's try this again with VoiceOver and see what we get now in our landmark section.
Landmarks menu. You are currently at main.
Great. You can now see that we have a
Cuts of Pig
region and
outdoor raising styles region.
Fantastic. So our section tags are now being picked up as landmarks. It is important that your section tags are paired with a heading because that's what your ARIA labeled by attribute is going to point to. And including the attribute will ensure that screen readers will pick up on those sections. Sections are not something that you want to overuse. So again, they're for thematically similar and related content within a larger piece. So for us, cuts of pig, all these sub H3s are talking about the different cuts. So there's bacon, pork, ham. That's thematically similar. It can be its own section. Similar to below, we're talking about free range.
Non-semantic markup. Cut outdoor raising styles region.
Pasture raised, woodland and forest raised. These are all outdoor raising styles. These are all thematically similar and related to the main content, but distinct from the section before it. So we can give it a section as well. Okay, fantastic. This is looking pretty good. There's just a couple of things that we can do for extra credit. So let's go back to our code and see what we can do there.
You are currently on a VoiceOver off.
Okay, now, if we look back within our blog content, some people may be familiar with an article tag. An article tag is typically used for blog posts, forum posts, etc., and its use case fits perfectly here. So let's nest all of this content inside of our, see if we can, lost my highlight there. Let's try that again, sorry. And let's take this and see if we can just quickly nest it within the article tag. Fantastic. Section, section. I think this div, there we go, is supposed to live outside of it. Perfect. Now, article is a funny tag. It is semantically correct, but it does not tie back to a landmark role out of the gate. However, there's something that we can do here to still make it distinct for our screen reader to pick up on. So if we save this code here and we jump over to the VoiceOver utility format, this lets you configure VoiceOver for a variety of different things. If we go to the web option here and we navigate over to the WebRotor tab, these are a list of things that the WebRotor will try to pick up on. You can see that there's links, headings, landmarks, tables, form controls, frames, etc. Each get their own menu, which we've seen flipping through them before. I believe this is the default selection. I can actually now go and select articles. Fantastic. Go back over here. Let's full screen our page again. Let's reload. And when I activate VoiceOver this time,
VoiceOver on Safari. Non-cement landmarks menu. You are currently in a VoiceOver main.
you'll see that there's nothing in here that shows our article. So we can see our main landmark or tag in here.
Cuts of Pig region
are the section tags that we defined. So there's no landmark in here. But now that we've enabled articles through the VoiceOver Rotor utility, if we keep using our left and right arrow keys to navigate through these options,
articles menu.
You'll see now that we have an articles menu, and it's picking up on the article tag, and it's already pulling in the H1, which is pigs. So that's great. Fantastic. So let's exit again out of VoiceOver.
You are VoiceOver off.
And there's one last thing that we can do for extra credit. Now, this does not necessarily apply to screen readers, although the screen reader will pick up on it as a link on the page. But it's more for keyboard users who are using tab and other combinations to navigate your page. So let's jump over to VS Code one last time. You'll see here that we have a main tag. And one thing that we can do is add a jump link in our page to the main content of our page. This is a pretty common pattern among sites. If you start tabbing around on sites, you may find this or stumble across this yourself. Now, the best practice is to put it as the first thing in your body tag. So we can go href equals ID of main, and we can say skip to main content as our link label, and let's just make sure that the ID of main matches up here. It does. Very important, you need the ID here for this to work. And let's jump back over to Safari, reload our page. You can now see that we have a skip to main content link there. If I tab on the page, it's the first thing I hit, which is exactly what you want. If I hit enter or return, it jumps me down to the main content of our page, which is great. However, we don't want the skip to main content link to always persist on page load. We want to make sure that it's visible to keyboard users when we need it, but not visible to non-keyboard users when we don't need it. So I'm using Bootstrap in this project. Bootstrap has an amazing built-in class for this already, so let's go and add it. Okay, so on this link, what we can do is we can add a class, and this class is, just bear with me here for a second. visually hidden and focusable. Okay, great. And if we reload this page, you'll see that the skip link is not there on reload. But as soon as I press tab, shift tab, sorry, my tab border was already on a different part of the page. So as soon as we go and press tab, when the page is reloaded and we're at the top, you'll see here that the skip to main content link comes back. As soon as I press tab again, it's gone, which is perfect. If I go back, it's there. If I tab through, it's gone. Perfect. This is a fairly accessible page now. If you are interested in what the CSS is doing, you can always check out the Bootstrap documentation if you're trying to mock it up yourself, and just look for the let's go back and look at that. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? The visually hidden focusable Bootstrap class. If you want to build your own, you can probably use theirs as a starting point and go from there. Okay, fantastic. That's a wrap on this video. I hope you folks learned something and enjoyed it. Consider giving me a like and subscribe. And if you look in the video description down below, you'll find a link to the WCAG Made Simple blog that has a related article, and you'll also find a link to a HTML landmarks cheat sheet PDF. Okay, folks, thanks. Take care. I'll see you next video.